finally time for the end of the year book tag. This is one of my favorite videos to film. I filmed it last year and had a blast, and so this year I decided that I was gonna film it again, obviously, this time during Bookmas. I hope you guys are enjoying Bookmas. Unfortunately, this is the last day. I tried my hardest not to repeat books, and I did pretty good, but towards the end, you will see some repeats. So obviously, at the time that I am filming this, it's only December 10th, so the year isn't quite over yet. Without further chit chat, let's get into it. The first question is most disappointing book of the year. There's two for this. Number one is These Violent Delights by Chloe Glong. I recently read this. You already know what I thought about it and like my thoughts and feelings because you've already seen that video. But yeah, this was the most disappointing read of the year. I really thought I was going to enjoy this because of it being, Romeo and Juliet retelling, and with it being like gangs and things like that. I thought I was going to enjoy it, but unfortunately it let me down. And the second book for this, I chose Hairpin Bridge by Taylor Adams. This was also a big disappointment because I've read two of his books and loved both of them. No Exit is one of my favorite thrillers of all time, and so when I went into Hairpin Bridge, I had a little bit of high expectations, and unfortunately, he let me down. What was an underdog book? And that would have to be A Million to One by Adiba. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. I really, really enjoyed this book, and no one really talks about it. I haven't really seen this anywhere, and I really enjoyed it. It's takes place on the Titanic. It's about these four women who are after this jewel-encrusted book. They want to steal it, and it's on board the Titanic, so they have to get all the... Anyway, it was such a fun read. I enjoyed it. I didn't love the romance that was in here. Not my thing, but I did enjoy everything else about it. What was an overhyped book that you read? Now, when I get this book, it's not that I didn't enjoy it, because I did enjoy it. I just didn't enjoy it as much as y'all did, and as everybody else who has read it did. That's why it seems to me that it was a little bit overhyped. Addicted to You by Krista and Becca Ritchie. I did not enjoy this as much as everybody else did, but I did enjoy it. I'm interested to continue the series, and yeah. The other one that I chose for this was Renegades by Marissa Myers. This one I also did not enjoy it as much as everybody else did. I did enjoy it, but not as much as everyone else, and I really, really, really liked that ending. And I do want to continue the series, and I think I want to reread Renegades at some point, and maybe it would be right book, wrong time type of situation, and if I reread it, I may enjoy it more. I don't know. A book that surprised you. Okay, so I have 3 for this. Things We Left Behind by Lucy Score. This book surprised me in a bad way. I wasn't expecting it to be the way it was. I knew that people were enjoying this one as much as they enjoyed the other two. But yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be so... It was more focused on the other characters than it was our main characters, and I didn't like that because we already got 2 full books of those characters, so we didn't need a whole nother book of those characters. We wanted Lucian and Sloane. We wanted to see their story, and honestly, we saw their romance through the eyes of the other characters. We didn't see their romance through their eyes, which was... That was disappointing too. Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. I was surprised that I enjoyed it as much as I did. I ate this up. I read this in a 24-hour readathon, and yeah, I loved this book so much. This is my first Allie Hazelwood book, and yeah, she did not disappoint. Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. This surprised me because I was not expecting the plot of this book. Like, I don't know what I was expecting, but what I got is not it. But I really enjoyed it. I loved this book so much, and this copy has taken a beating. I thrifted it, but then I took it on vacation with me and read it by the pool, and so it's a little crickety. But I really did enjoy this book. Your favorite book couples of the year. I have 3. So first up we have Hazel and Augustus from The Fault in Our Stars. I absolutely love them. They're so cute. I love Augustus. I love Hazel. Them two together is just, I really enjoyed this book. Raysan and Farah, obviously, or Farah. Do I have to say anything more? Declan and Iris from Terms and Conditions. I ate this book up. I can't do one of these videos and not mention Lauren Asher at least once. I can't. Your favorite main characters of the year. And so I didn't want to repeat because obviously I love those main characters so much, but I didn't want to repeat books, so I chose others that I really enjoyed. So first up we have Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I obviously love Peyton and Kai so much. Peyton is such a strong female character, and I love that for her. And I obviously really enjoyed this book. And then we have the dragons in Fourth Wing. They are my favorite characters. But obviously I love Violet and Xaden as well. New favorite author you discovered this year, and last year I read 1 book by this author and loved it, and this year I read 2 more. Yes, I've read 2 more books from this author, and so he has now become one of my favorites, and that has to be Riley Sager. I really enjoy his books. I have enjoyed everything that I've read by him so far, and I've read 3 books by him. And yeah, new favorite thriller author for sure. Author that didn't work out for you this year. And that has to be Frederick Backman. I tried to read this book and DNF'd it. Wasn't for me. I also tried to read Beartown, and that I was enjoying that book. I just feel like I was in the mood for something else when I started it, so I just kind of put it down. I soft DNF'd it. I didn't really talk about it. But yeah, he just wasn't for me this year. Maybe next year I'll try to pick up Beartown again. We'll see. What is the happiest book you read this year? Because I don't want to repeat. I have 2. We have Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I love this book. This book was so good. Ended off on a cliffhanger, so I now have the 2nd book. I can't wait to read it. I really enjoyed this. I did some annotating. I didn't annotate this a lot, but I did. There were quotes that I wanted to underline. But anyway, that's not what this is. The next book is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. This book was so much fun. I loved every second of it and literally had to read the 2nd book immediately after, which has never happened. When I start a series, I don't read the next book immediately after, but this one I had to. So that's how you know I really enjoyed it. On the flip side of that is, what is the saddest book you read this year? And I have 2. Actually, I have 3. And this one is going to be a repeat. You're going to see one book I've already mentioned, but we'll talk about that one in a minute. First one is Summerland by Ellen Hildebrand. This book is not, I don't want you to go into it thinking it's a sad book, because it's not sad, but it does have a sad element, and so I was sad the entire time I read it. Not to the point where I was like crying or anything like that. I just felt sad, and I felt bad for the characters. It's because a character dies in this in a car crash, and we spend the whole book with like their loved ones and their significant other and their friends, and we follow them as they try to process the grief of losing this person. And so yeah, it made me sad. The Fault in Our Stars, obviously I can't not mention this book for this question because this book is sad, really sad, and that's all I'm saying. 0 Days by Ruth Ware. Yes, this is a thriller, but it also made me really sad because we follow our main character, how she has lost her husband. He was killed. She walked into her house and saw his body, and so now the police think she did it. So now she's running from the police. She's trying to figure out who killed her husband. It's just really sad of how she is trying to process her grief by also trying to survive, because there's people trying to kill her. The police are trying to get her, and if the police get her, she'll definitely be killed because the person that's trying to kill her has connections. And so she's just like, I was sad most of the time I was reading that book, but it was such a good book. The most frustrating book you read this year? The most frustrating book this year was Never by Jessa Hastings. I went into this knowing that people didn't really like it, but I obviously wanted to form, my own opinion and everything like that. So I went into it and I really was enjoying it. But then we get to the ending and I'm just like, you mean to tell me I spent all of this time with these characters just to get to the ending and for that to happen? Are you kidding me? I was not happy. I was frustrated and mad. But yeah, that's that. I obviously enjoyed parts of this because I did, in fact, annotate it because I knew I didn't want to get rid of this book because this book is just so beautiful, and that's what makes it so sad that I didn't like it and I found it infuriating, but it's okay. Your favorite covers of the year? Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher. I love this cover. I love the purple and the different shades of purple. I don't know why I'm explaining to you why I love this cover, but I do. The Only One Left by Riley Sager. There's just something about this cover that I just absolutely, there's just something intriguing about it, Have Legendary, really the whole Caraval series. These books are absolutely stunning and I want my own copies so bad because I do want to go back and reread them because I love those books. One of my favorite series of all time. A book you haven't stopped thinking about. The ACOTAR series, I haven't stopped thinking about this since I have read all the books except for A Court of Silver Flames and the one that's not out yet. I just absolutely love these characters. I love this series. I love this world. Everything about it. And then another repeat, Fault in Our Stars. I haven't stopped thinking about this book. It is so good. I love this book. And that could be because I just recently read it, and that's why I can't stop thinking about it. Unpopular book you loved. I have 3 for these, and I don't have the physical copies. So I have Maybe in Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This book came out in 2015, so that might be why I haven't heard anyone talk about it, but I absolutely love this. I listened to it on audio and absolutely loved this book. I talked about it in another video. But yeah, and then we have Darling Girls by Sally Hepworth. I haven't really heard anyone talk about this book. I got the arc of it and I loved this book as well. It was so good. It was unlike anything that I had ever read. It was more like women's fiction with like a side plot of mystery, but I just really enjoyed this. And then we have Do Not Disturb by Frida McFadden. I also haven't heard or seen anyone talk about this thriller. I loved this. At the beginning, I was a little skeptical. I was like, okay, this is really reminiscent of her other books. But then we got to the plot twist, and I'm like, okay, yep, this is it. I love this. Books you thought you'd love but didn't. This is where repeats come in. Thought I was gonna love these Violent Delights, but did not. I thought I was gonna at least like this, but obviously did not. A book with the most unique concept you read this year. I have two. I have a romance and I have a fantasy. The romance is If You Were Mine. Basically, this girl hires this guy to be her date, and they fall in love. I had never read, I'm sure there are more out there, but I had never read this trope before, and I ate it up. This book was a little bit on the smuttier side. I didn't like that, but I did like the concept. And the fantasy is One Dark Window. I never read a fantasy like this before. It was really interesting. I loved the concept. I loved the magic system. Book you read this year that you would reread. Okay. Definitely repeats. We're gonna do rapid fire. Fourth Wing, Powerless, Court of Mist and Fury, The Fault in Our Stars, because I do in fact want to reread it. Goodreads 2024 reading goal, reflection, and a reading goal for 2025. My reading goal for this year was 50 books, and as of today, as I'm recording this video at this moment, I have read 55. Like I said, the year's not over with, and I'm actually like 60 pages away from finishing a book right now, so I'm obviously going to read more, but as of right now, I've read 55, so I have achieved that goal. I have surpassed that goal. I am so excited. This is only my third year reading, so for the fact that I have read 55 books in a year is actually mind-blowing. If you told me 5 years ago that I was going to be an avid reader, I'd say you crazy. And you're actually funny. It's insane to me that I have read 55 books and I'm fixing to complete another one. As for the goal for 2025, I think depending on what number I end the year out with, I think I'm gonna go with 65 because I have read some like 55 books, so I'm gonna start like baby steps getting to bigger numbers. So I think I'm gonna set, like I said, depending on how many books I end the year out with, I think I'm going to set that goal for 65. Book you wish you got to this year. The Stolen Heir by Holly Black. I read the Cruel Prince trilogy, absolutely devoured it. Love these characters, love this world. So I really wish I would have been able to get to this. But as of right now, I don't think I'm going to be able to get to it before the end of the year. So yeah, I wish I would have been able to get to this and read it and love it, but nope, not this year. Hopefully next year. Last question of today's video is, what will you prioritize in your 2025 reading year? And honestly, just reading for fun. Make sure it never feels like it's becoming a chore or becoming like a job or anything like that, because I do make content and sometimes I can feel pressure on, oh my god, I gotta read this book and I gotta finish it this day so I can have this uploaded this day. I don't ever want to get to that point where reading doesn't become fun, and so I'm going to prioritize. Did the same for this year, is if I'm not wanting to read that day, I don't force myself to read that day, because then when you force yourself to read, when you really don't really feel like it, you can really make yourself go into a book slump, and that is not fun ever, especially for a content creator that their content is reading. So well guys, that is going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. It helps me out so much, and thank you so much for being here with me today, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!